In 1916, the British Army sent the first tanks into battle. This is the story of how the tank was transformed from an idea into reality by the Landships Committee, founded in early 1915. In episode 1, we discussed the committee's first months. In June 1915, the Landships Committee tested out the American Holt creeping grip track laying system on the Killen Straight tractor. This confirmed the Landships Committee that the Holt system was the best available track laying system and that it, in combination with a Daimler engine, could form the basis for the Landship's motive power. In July 1915, Major Ernest Swinton formally joined the Landships Committee, while Walter Wilson and William Tritton achieved the breakthrough in the Landship's technical development at around the same time. The very first of the British Landships was designed by William Tritton with the assistance of Lieutenant Walter Wilson. Their first design was known officially as the Tritton machine, but this machine soon gained the nickname of Little Willie. It was a massive step forward in the story of the Landship and proved that the two engineers could work together effectively. Little Willie was not a very sophisticated machine and was never armed with so much as a machine gun. It was very simply an armoured box hull mounted between two unsprung track frames, powered by a Daimler Knight 105 horsepower sleeve valve petrol engine. Little Willie was originally intended to mount a revolving turret, and it featured a wheeled steering tail apparatus. Steering and gear changes were made by 4 men. 2 engaged the gears, 1 operated the brakes, and another, the driver, engaged the clutch and steered the machine. The machine could make about 2 miles per hour. On August 26, 1915, Lieutenant Stern was shown the full-scale mock-up of the Tritton machine by Tritton and Wilson at the Foster's Works in Lincoln. The working prototype was under construction in mild steel, equipped with a turret mounted on its roof. The turret was judged a nuisance as it made the vehicle top-heavy, and this feature was abandoned when the track layout was redesigned. Tritton and Wilson's high hopes for Little Willie were dashed when the War Office requested that the machine be able to climb a parapet 4.5 feet high and cross a 5-foot wide trench. Little Willie was not designed to accomplish such a feat, but construction was completed at Foster's while Tritton and Wilson designed a track layout with ground contact equivalent to a 60-foot high wheel. This was the path which led the designers to the rhomboid track frame shape adopted soon afterwards. This, combined with most of Little Willie's other features, resulted in the second tank prototype, named Mother. On September 22, 1915, the redesigned track, perfected by Tritton, was manufactured to improve Little Willie. This was the date which Albert Stern later noted down as the birthday of the tank. In October 1915, the Landships Committee, despite being on the verge of success, nearly ceased to exist. The committee's work was dependent on No. 20 Squadron, Royal Naval Air Service, for its manpower and membership. They were almost deprived of this resource when the Royal Navy recalled the squadron for service elsewhere. The order was only rescinded thanks to Tennyson Danecourt and Arthur Balfour's insistence to the Royal Navy. Finally, the British Army took notice of the committee's work. Colonel Swinton was said to have remarked to Albert Stern, with real irony, "Lieutenant Stern, this is the most extraordinary thing that I have ever seen. The director of naval construction appears to be making land battleships for the army, who have never asked for them and who are doing nothing to help. The next 2 months were then spent testing Little Willie and then perfecting its new track system. At Foster's, they simultaneously applied all lessons learned to the design and construction of Mother. Little Willie was fitted with the final pattern of tracks in early December 1915, shortly before Mother was completed. Little Willie, the first tank, had in effect been a very short-lived testbed. Mother first ran alongside Little Willie before Christmas 1915. The gun sponsons for Mother were designed by Tennyson Danecourt to keep the centre of gravity low. The 2 sponsons were removable. Each was armed with a Hotchkiss 6-pounder naval cannon. The .303 caliber machine guns selected as secondary armament were selected after evaluation of the Madsen, Lewis and Vickers. Mother was armed with 2 Madsen machine guns to fire from the sponson ports and 1 Hotchkiss fired from the commander's position. Mother was fitted with her gun sponsons at Foster's on January 26, 1916, and was moved by rail from Lincoln to Hatfield Station. She was driven to Hatfield Park by night. Mother's first trial began on January 29, 1916, with Major Hetherington in command. The trial was very successful, so much so that a second trial with Field Marshal Lord Kitchener in attendance was scheduled for February 2nd. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Lieutenant General Sir William Robertson and Lord Kitchener all commented favourably on Mother's capabilities. Finally, King George V attended a third trial on February 8th, riding in Mother himself. The army immediately placed an order for 50 landships, now codenamed tanks by Colonel Swinton. This order was rapidly increased to 150. From concept to order, the tank had taken about 340 days. Now that Mother had proven worthy of a production order, Tritton and Wilson got to work on refining the design for mass production. Thus was born the heavy tank Mark I.